comes a point in time where you have to sit back and realize the ages of these Street Fighter characters. Well, luckily for us, we won't have to wait and find out how old these fighters really are. And to my surprise, Ryu would be 56 years old in 2020. Because if you remember, he first entered the tournament in Street Fighter 1. So he had to be like 22 or 23 years old when he entered the tournament. Yep, that's what we're here to find out today. Or tonight. This is the Street Fighter's Ryu would be 56 years old in the year 2020. The one thing I wish Capcom would do is change up his hairstyle. He's been having the same hairstyle since Street Fighter 4. And I think it's time for like an update or something like that. So, what y'all think? Throughout the years, Ryu's appearance in Street Fighter series have changed somewhat. During the Street Fighter 1 and Street Fighter Alpha era, Ryu was portrayed as young-looking as these events took place in the late 1980s in the Street Fighter timeline. Ryu's birth date is listed as being July 21st, 1964. This would mean that he was 22 or 23 years old when he entered Sega's World Warrior Tournament in 1987. During the event of Street Fighter 1, Ryu is looking a fair bit older during the events of Street Fighter 4. This seems to fit as Ryu would be about 30 by the time Seth separates from Shadaloo. Okay, I'm gonna read that one more time. Ryu is looking a fair bit older during the events of Street Fighter 4. This seems to fit as Ryu would be 30 by the time Seth separates from Shadaloo. Okay, that's a bit weird. Now that you think about it, in Street Fighter 1, he was about 23 or 22 when he first entered the tournament. So I think that would probably make him like around 40 something, because Street Fighter 4 came out in the US in 2009 when it came out in Japan in 2008. So I don't get that part, but what's interesting is that the Street Fighter timeline never seems to go into the 2000s. Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, the latest series of events in the Street Fighter timeline, appears to take place sometimes in between 1987 and 2000. I thought Street Fighter 3 was 1997, just that year. I didn't think it would be in 2000. What a shock. If the timeline caught up the real world time period of 2020, then Ryu would have been 56 years old. Needless to say, his appearance will likely be drastically different. One of the characters that made his debut appearance in Street Fighter 1 was Jin. Being that Jin was born on March 10, 1921, he'd be about 66 years old around the time of Street Fighter 1. Though this would be unlikely considering Jin's battle against a deadly disease, but Jin would be 99 years old if he managed to survive until 2020. Dang! I didn't know that Jin was born in 1920 or 1921. I mean, he would have been dead by now around 99 years old. I mean, I think most martial artists I've seen on TV or YouTube, for that matter, some of them lived a lifetime, a long life, and most of them died in their 60s, 50s, or even 70s, and most of them died in the 80s and early 90s. You know, it depends on how they're living in their healthy lifestyle, you know, in terms of being a martial artist and everything. But in terms of Jin, I didn't think he was that old at the time, because I will often hear about Jin in like Udon Street Fighter comics and Street Fighter 4 franchise for that matter. I didn't think that was like the case. But when it comes to Ryu, I sometimes feel like he needs to really change his hairstyle. Cause like I say, I think here okay, you know what? I would probably call this the Street Fighter 4 syndrome. It's basically a thing when a person is stuck on one event, their hairstyle and their appearance stays the same instead of being changed, you know? And I feel like when I'm looking at Ryu, his appearance from Street Fighter 4 to Street Fighter 5, and a lot of guest appearances in crossover fighting games like um, Tatsunaki vs. Capcom, Marvel vs. Capcom series, and Super Smash Bros. His hairstyle is literally stuck the same since Street Fighter 4. And there have been a little bit of improvements of his hairstyle in Street Fighter 5, but I still think they need to change it up a bit, you know, bring back that classic hairstyle that I remember Ryu from. But that's just my opinion though. But yeah, 56 years old, Ryu, I never would have thought that he would be this old, but young, healthy, and fit, you know. In terms of their art style, steroids. I just had to throw that out there because you usually see like Street Fighter characters in modern day games like Street Fighter 4 and 5. Their muscles just look like they're on steroids, the veins popping out of their arms like crazy. But it is what it is, so who am I to judge? Yeah, man, that's my thoughts on this article. If you want the article, I will have it in the description box below so you guys can read it for yourselves. Yeah, that's just my thoughts and opinions on this as well. But yeah, tell me what you guys thoughts. Let me know in the chat below, and I'm out here.